Thanks for keeping me waiting.
Susannah Townsend.
You made me nervous.
No.
I was waiting.
I know you were ready and I know you were waiting, but we can't start before 5 p.m. We can't tell
That is
everyone.
true. Cutting it fine.
But how are you? Thank you so much for joining me.
It's alright, I thought I'd wear my best Adidas top to get that in.
That's a nice touch. I mean, I can't actually see the Adidas logo, but I'll take your
Can
word.
you not? Oh no, that's where I've gone wrong my whole career. Don't get the right things in the shot.
Silly. But anyway, thank you so much. My 11th episode of Cuppa and the Natter, and I'm thrilled that GB hockey absolute legend Susannah Townsend is Now, to put things into perspective, okay, you know those sort of people that walk into every room and they instantly light it up with their smile, positivity, bubbly personality. That's Susannah Townsend, okay? If you're in a meeting, you avoid eye contact at all costs. But honestly, a fantastic personality, but absolutely impressive hockey player as well. So just a bit of background. Started playing at the age of 13 at secondary school. You made your international debut in 2008. And since then have had an illustrious career lasting 12 years and going on further, which is great. Fair to say, one of the strongest, most dynamic players in world hockey right now. 167 international caps, 11 goals, believe it or not.
Quite a few goals.
4-time European medalist, 2-time Commonwealth Games medalist, the famous gold at Rio in 2016. It's fair to say you're one of the finest players in the world right now. An absolutely amazing teammate. Susannah Townsend, I am buzzing.
Thanks, it's nice to be here. Thanks for finally inviting me. It's taken you a while.
No. I mean, I was just waiting. The 11th episode is a really, really important one. So I couldn't not get to then.
Actually, you let me work on my tan a bit. It's actually nice from you. Thanks.
You look fabulous. You've definitely been working hard. I mean, I'm a wall today because I've struggled with my hay fever, hence the old glasses are making an appearance. But you're doing well.
Thanks,
Yeah, no dramas. I'll kick things off because everyone wants to know how Townsend likes her tea, okay? So I'm going to ask you 5 quick fire questions, if that's all right.
Right, go on then.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Breakfast tea or herbal tea?
Breakfast.
Yorkshire tea, Twinings or Earl Grey?
Yorkshire.
Milk, sugar or neither?
Milk, and then my mum sometimes puts the spoon in the sugar.
Oh, Leslie.
Cheeky Leslie.
Okay, question number 4. Which GB teammate are you most likely to make a cup of tea for?
Oh, that's probably... thing is, I'd like to say Grace, but then she makes it for me. So probably no one, if I'm honest with you. Like, everyone always makes me tea. I don't think I've made one tea in my career on a trip, actually. That's a terrible stat. And actually, if any friends are listening to this, I think that's sort of my whole life summed up in that whole sentence. People just make me tea. Even my little brother, say it to him, you're like, oh, Harry, you make a good cup of tea. He's like, yeah, I do, actually. And he goes and makes you one.
So is that how you like get people wrapped around your fingers, by saying, actually, you're good at making tea, make me one?
Clearly, like, I didn't know I was doing it until... my friend actually pointed it out the other week, and she was like, Susannah, we're just living in your world. I was like, oh, sorry.
Full Grace Baldwin, that's all I'm saying. But, okay, question
Lucky
number
Grace
5.
Baldwin.
Which GB teammate are you most likely to share your biscuit accompaniment with?
Oh. Again, that's tricky. Probably Lily, because one, I know Lily will always give me a biscuit back. So Lily Owsley will always have a secret stash. Sorry, Emma Gardner, if you're watching. Always have a secret stash of chocolate or biscuits. So you know to go to her room if she's got something. Unfortunately, when you go in there, it's normally on the same day that everyone else has had a bad day. And they've already nicked it all already.
So it's Lily Owsley then?
Lily Owsley.
Interesting. I mean, I've just seen...
Sorry, Em.
I mean, you're not going to make me a tea or you're not going to share your biscuits. I won't take it to heart. But Anna Toman has literally just commented, and I've just seen, apparently the next trip, you are making every single player a cup of tea. So chin up, you've just put yourself in it there.
Hope it gets selected.
Me too. Okay. Right, so to kick things off, I've already pre-warned you that I ask all my Cover and Natter guests 3 questions, okay? So my first question comes from my Cover and Natter guest on Thursday, GB swimmer, absolute legend, one of the nicest people around, Ellie Simmons. And Ellie was saying the 2 things she most dislikes about being a swimmer is the ridiculously early alarm every morning. Apparently sets it like 4:30, something ridiculous like that. And also always having wet hair. Okay, I mean standard. I don't know how she manages it, but still, she would like to know from you what is the biggest dislike that you have for hockey?
Well, firstly, the wet hair thing. For anyone that's played with me, I pretty much am like a swimmer because of the amount I sweat. So I would actually say wet hair all the time. Secondly, also everyone that knows me knows that when I talk about something, I waffle and I tend to tell a story. So half an hour limit for me is actually quite difficult. But anyway, so if you set the scene, roughly, we as hockey players, we spend 14 hours a week running through puddles. And we're running through these puddles, which is a hockey pitch. If you take it quite literally, it is a water-based pitch. And we are running through those puddles every day. Get off the pitch, get in our car, feet are still wet. Get home, feet are still wet. Our shoes smell. Our feet. Do you know what? I'm actually shooting myself in the face here, because at the same time, I go home and I have terrible feet. I have dry skin on them. They don't look very nice. And actually, at the moment, anyone that's not playing hockey, it's amazing. My feet look good. Can finally paint my toenails. Don't have any dry skin. So I would actually say that for me, one of the worst things in hockey is 1, our hockey shoes always smell. 2, we've got terrible looking feet that you don't want to literally show on a beach. You're happy when you're in sand because you get to cover them up and dig them in.
Mate, so you've literally just said that you got trench foot during the hockey season. And
thing is, I was worried about saying trench foot because I was like, oh, can I say trench foot? And then I was like, oh yeah, I can say trench foot. But you've said it, so perfect.
I'm literally describing it like that. I mean, I've never actually noticed that about your feet, but I'm staying well away from them.
I'm not showing you my feet. And also, when has a hockey player ever got a full set of nails on their feet? Never. Never, ever, ever. But do we complain? No, we don't. We get back in those puddles. We run through, we get splashed, go home, do it all again the next day, don't we, Em?
I like that. I like that analogy you just used. And Ellie Simmons, if you're watching, I hope you appreciated the answer that you just got. The biggest dislike from Susannah Townsend with regards to so perfect. So moving on, I guess. I would love to have heard about more of your dislikes by that sound, but anyway. So the first time you picked up a hockey stick, age 13 at Sutton Valence School, the same school that Ashley Jackson, GB men's player and absolute living legend, also went to. So they're obviously.
Do you know what it says? Do you know what it used to say on my Wikipedia? Susannah Townsend. Susanna Townsend, famous for going to school with Ashley Jackson. No. Yeah, that was it. That was honestly, he loved it for at least a couple of years. I think my mum changed it.
You know what? I'm gonna rewrite that myself. I could write a blooming long list for you, girl. Don't you worry. I'll sort out your Wikipedia page.
Thanks, Em. Thanks.
I've got you. But I guess age 13, that is quite late introduction to the sport. If you compare yourself to maybe like your GB teammates or international counterparts. So that's quite a challenge in itself. Also, since taking part in the international game, you've had to overcome a fair bit, it's fair to say. So in terms of selection, you narrowly missed out on selection for the London 2012 Olympic Games. However, turned that disappointment into a huge positive where you didn't miss a single game or tournament in the 4-year Rio cycle. Pretty impressive. Obviously, people will know that you won Olympic gold in 2016. They won't necessarily know that you played the whole tournament with a knee injury. So you played through that, required surgery straight after the games, had a 9-month injury layoff with that injury. Then 2 months after coming back from the knee injury, you ruptured 2 ankle ligaments. I think it's fair to say you've had to overcome a lot, and like the strength and resilience it takes to overcome those sort of setbacks is hats off to you. But I want to know what motivated motivates you to keep coming back and bouncing back from every setback that you've had to overcome throughout your career?
I can break it down into different phases of my life, really. So if I go back to London 2012, the girls that were around, I was this sort of arrogant youngster coming through who like loved attacking. I loved playing attacking hockey, and unfortunately I thought that would just get me selected. I always did, and I had people around me, like even if Helen Richard Morse was watching, she'd be like, Towner, come on now, focus on the other stuff. And I was stubborn, and I'm still stubborn to a point, and I actually didn't listen to them for quite a long time, and there were a few reasons I obviously wasn't selected, people that were better than me, and et cetera, and et cetera. But at the same time, the biggest reason is that I wasn't very good at defending. I put all of this emphasis on being good at attacking and didn't work on my weaknesses. And so from that point on, after some quite sort of some harsh lessons from obviously not going to a home Olympics, which is what everyone wants to go to, I went to Thailand with a couple of GB girls. I won't talk about on here. And we had quite a good time. But at the same time, the reason for going was to reset and really realize what I wanted. And and all I ever wanted to do, and anyone that plays international sport, all you ever want to do is really go to an Olympics or a World Cup or any type of tournament where you can win a medal. And that was simply my motivation. I knew that I had to look at myself a little bit and think, okay, I can't let myself down. I have to be true to myself. So in terms of my hockey career, that's where it kept me going back and back. And if I look at my injuries after Rio, it was a feeling of it's the best achievement in the world, of course. But at the same time, I felt like I wasn't done. I felt like I still had a lot more to achieve. I felt like I was peaking at that point, and I was very accepting that I had this knee injury. I didn't ask any questions really beforehand. I didn't know the extent of the operation I had to have, how long it would be out, and my motivation to get back and play was better actually than it's probably been for anything in my career. And if you ask him, a bachelor, my rehab was exceptional. I did everything really, really well. Now, the big struggle that I had is when I actually had my ankle injury. I'd rehab so intensely, and a lot of athletes have it. A lot of athletes get injured and then they have another injury. And I simply didn't rehab my ankle very well. I remember sitting on the bench actually after it happened, and I came off and I ruptured like my CTFL for physio people, my ATFL, or almost ruptured my CTFL. And I went back on the pitch and tried to run. And actually, if you watch the replay, Holland scored a goal, and you watch me run past someone in the D because I simply can't stop because I have no ligaments in my ankle. And I went off, and all I said to the doctor at the time was, I can't do this rehab again. I simply can't do it. And like you guys are sort of in my team at the moment, and everyone, I've been very open about it actually. It's taken me probably up until the last 6 months to get back from that. And that's not even to do with how my body feels. It's to do with how I feel in myself and regaining my confidence. And the answer is quite simply as to why do I keep on playing now? What keeps me going back? And like everyone watching is under no illusions that I definitely considered stopping because it got too hard. My ankle hurt too much. I wasn't enjoying it too much. Those pains that I was having, which genuinely, I looked at all these older athletes when I was playing when I was younger. I was like, what are they all complaining about? What are these injuries? Why are they complaining so much? Why are they in the gym on a Sunday doing extra stretching? And then suddenly when it happened to me, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what actually happens. But the reason that, thankfully for me, this isn't me trying to sort of plug my team, but I had a lot of people that were very, very honest with me and said to me what I wasn't doing right and also what they needed from me for the squad. And originally when you hear that, you're stubborn. Well, I am. And I'm like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. But actually, when you sit down and think about it a bit more, you realize what you have to do. And I wouldn't be continuing trying to get selected for an Olympics right now if I didn't think we could go there and win, because it's going to be a long old slog. The thought of another winter is tough. Everyone knows that hitting a hockey ball in winter is horrible. I thought I had maybe one or two more fitness tests in my career. That's a lie. That's going to continue. Yeah. And actually, for me, I always said that I would stop when I stopped enjoying it, and that's why I considered it. But at the moment, and I actually foresee the future that I will continue to enjoy it, and actually because I've been so much more open with how I am with everyone now, I think that will put me sort of in a better place to go and actually achieve something with this team. And look, whoever gets selected, I have no doubt that they'll bring home a gold medal when they go to Tokyo, or we hopefully. But that's why. So I've now learned that there's lots of ups and downs, and yes, I waffle. I know I'm still speaking, but there's lots of ups and downs. But it's you change as you get older, and you learn a lot, and you have people that have to tell you the truth. Some people that put you on a pedestal, like your mum, like my mum will always tell me I'm the best player. But the people that, yeah, thanks, Em. But the people that you have to speak to are those that are actually going to look you in the eye and tell you the truth. And that's probably what I didn't have for a couple of years.
So it's really interesting to hear, obviously, the support network that you have around you. You've got an incredibly supportive family around you. You know, your mum and dad are always in the crowd watching. So obviously their support in overcoming these setbacks, whether it's injury and selection, has probably been a big factor in your career today. What's really interesting, do you think that the way you would have coped with, say, your knee and your ankle injury, if that was at that same time in the Rio cycle, would you have, you know, altered your outlook on it slightly? Would you still have been able to keep that motivation, having not necessarily been to the Olympic Games before and come away with the gold medal? Do you think that motivation still would have been the same?
To be honest, it's a really good question. I don't know is the honest answer. I think my biggest fear was not going to Rio. After the disappointment of not going to London, I was petrified of not going to the next Olympics. But I knew that, and I knew that the way that I sort of behaved, it meant that I had to make sure that I almost got there. So absolutely everything I did made sure that I was trying to get there. How would I help the team, and how can I change my game to benefit the team? Do I want to be the star? Yeah, you do, but you can't be in a team sport. And those are the things that I sort of had to realize. I think if I'd have had, I was at that point a very, very fit, fast player, and I think if those injuries had happened then, I think I would have struggled a lot more than I probably am now. I think you certainly don't rest on your laurels at all when you won an Olympic gold medal, but you have it and no one else can take it away from you. I also know that there's something that I just haven't achieved, and whether that's going to an Olympic, another Olympics, whether that's going to the next Europeans, whether that's medaling, I don't know. And that's sort of the journey that I'm going through at the moment. And so I think that's a very difficult thing for me to answer, because I actually don't have the answer for it. I think it would have been very circumstantial as in terms of where I was in my life at that point. But I think it probably would have knocked me a little bit further, if I'm honest, because I was flying high. I felt like I was at the best point in my career, and I think I would have found it a bit harder.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm speaking personally, you know, I'm so thankful that obviously you didn't have that problem in the Rio build-up, because, you know, you're phenomenal in that tournament. And also, speaking as your teammate now, what you've had to overcome, and yet still going strong, what there's still to be achieved in the next year or so for yourself. I'm excited for you. But I guess it kind of leads me on nicely to my third question. So for anyone last week, there was a fantastic BBC Sport article that came out with yourself. It was open, honest, as ever, when it comes to yourself, and characteristic I admire about yourself. But it's about delaying your retirement. So obviously, with the postponement of the Olympic Games, you had to make the decision whether, you know, to carry on for the extra year, and I'm very pleased that you are doing so. And I guess for some athletes, the postponement of the Olympic Games is seen as a positive in terms of giving them more time to rehab an injury, or for a youngster coming into a squad to embed themselves within that team. But also on the flip side, it can have a negative impact in terms of, you know, the broader impact outside of sport, such as yourself in delaying your retirement. How easy has it been to shift that mindset in terms of, okay, I was supposed to be retiring in 2 months' time. Now I'm going to be going for another. How easy is it to shift?
Olympic selection was meant to be next week, wasn't it?
Next week.
Goodness me. It's difficult because as athletes, we sort of all presumed it would be postponed for a little bit before we were scared it was going to be cancelled. So at the point when it came out, it was a positive. As you sort of alluded to in the interview I did last week, I very, very openly say that I definitely I've underperformed for the last 2 years, without a doubt. I completely have underperformed. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I felt like I've actually been in a very, very good place almost since just before Christmas, November, December. And I'm finally playing the hockey that I know I can play again. And you can see it with me, it's really clear. I walk onto the pitch with my head up and I'm smiling and I'm making a joke. Someone laughs at me and I take it well and give a joke back. If I don't, the correlation is actually quite scary. I'm very sensitive. I don't throw the jokes back. And So at the moment, I feel like August would have come at a very, very good time for me, because I would have continued to go like that. And if you ask anyone that's got retirement in their mind, I may be speaking on behalf of people that I don't know, but it's almost once you get past Christmas and you're in that year of Olympic year, you know that you can make it to the end. And that's how I sort of felt. And unfortunately, I didn't feel that probably soon enough, but I felt like the next 6 months from Christmas time before this all happened, it was going to go like this for me. So at the moment, I actually feel incredibly excited. And there's two parts to this. I feel incredibly excited because, one, I'm loving my hockey. Two, I feel like I can finally get back to playing the way that I can play and better. I feel like as a squad, we would have done well this summer, I have no doubt, but an extra year will only do us even more good, as time does. To counteract that, I've got a few injuries, and they're not injuries, I get told off for saying that, they're sort of things that I have to manage. So my biggest worry is making sure that I get there and get myself in a space where I can be in contention for selection. I have no doubt personally that my hockey at that point can be good enough. My biggest fear again is that my body won't get there. But I'm going to do absolutely everything I can to get there. I mean, we're in a very fortunate environment where we can have the conversations with coaches where the physios, my physio has been working with me my whole career. She knows my injuries, my body almost better than me. And I know that we'll have a plan. We are working through a plan for the next year to make sure that come Olympic selection, I'm at least able to be selected. And so for me, actually, I'm excited. I'm excited I actually feel like I wasn't ready to retire because I have started to enjoy it again. It would have been a shame for me to retire. I also knew that it was the right time because my body can't keep on doing this forever. But at the same time, I am very, very excited to give it a good old crack with all of you. And look, as long as we're all smiling, I genuinely think we'll do incredibly well.
I think it's quite refreshing to hear someone speak about that in terms of, I completely agree in terms of if I'm enjoying myself and I'm enjoying the hockey and everything like that, you automatically play better, don't you? And as well with yourself, having your injury history that you have, I've also seen how important it is to, maintain, your exercises. You're the first person in the gym in the morning to make sure you stay on top of things. And it's kind of having that enjoyment, but still being able to carry out the physical capability that you're so used to is probably the biggest challenge. But actually, I think, as you said, you can see the spark that's coming back in Susannah Townsend. And you've got another year to keep smashing it. And I tell you what, good luck World Hockey when you've got Susannah Townsend flying.
Thanks, Sam.
For another year. I'm gonna say another year and beyond when you.
I reckon I could get to 13 goals as well. 2 more in a year is not bad, is it? That's more than sometimes. If you look through my stats, sometimes I don't even get 1 a year. It's terrible. But I've got good assists. Good assists.
Is this the aim? Is this the aim then? Okay, so you're postponing your retirement.
To get more goals.
The Olympic Games is an important reason, but the second reason being that you want to up the goals.
Yeah, completely. It's purely for selfish reasons. Purely, I reckon I can get to 20 goals and then tap out. I also figured out that if I get to
13 goals, 20 goals.
It's going to be a good year, Em. It's going to be a really good year, especially with no international hockey until around December. But maybe, who knows, it's a rumour. I don't know, but I do need to score more. It's a big thing. And I think I've always had people that I literally pass the ball to in the day. And I've like you've seen footage of me, I do a pass and I absolutely love watching my passes, and I watch it and I almost applaud it myself. And I have to and there's so much footage of me leaning on my stick and watching it and not following the play. And I completely understand that I need to get in the D more, and I do need to have a bit of a shot.
Now, every team needs the assisters. We can't all score goals. You're talking to the right person. I've only got one.
Well, I've just seen Toman just said she'll pass me the ball in the D. Thanks, Tay. I appreciate it.
And Tess
that's all I want.
I'm a goal hanger, so
yeah, that's the spirit, Tess. Is that what you do, Tess? Is that why you got so many goals?
Yes.
Yeah. I live on the back post. That does make sense. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to here first. So Susannah Townsend is postponing her retirement. I couldn't recommend it more. Check out the BBC Sport article. But also, she's going to up her goals in the next year or so. If we don't see it, then we'll challenge her about it at a later date. Okay? Fair.
Just put my name. Just put my name on the goal sheet.
Okay. I want to ask a few questions from social media, if that's all right.
Go on then. All right.
Okay. This is a good one. Laura on Instagram would like to know, would you rather your beloved West Ham United win the Premier League or your childhood hockey club, Canterbury, get promoted back into the England Hockey Premier League?
Canterbury, undoubtedly. I love West Ham I love West Ham to bits, but I don't like the new stadium. It's ruined my love a little bit. You can't choose who you love, I know, but West Ham, it's a bit of a love-hate, which is like love, isn't it? So perfect.
But okay, so that's a no-brainer. That seemed like it was
no-brainer.
Easy.
Yeah, it's there. Poor Canterbury are one of the. I look at a couple of clubs. I'm gonna have to say Surbiton because you're on this, but Surbiton, Bowden Hightown, Canterbury, they're traditional clubs, like proper traditional clubs who used to join forces with the men. You'd have Easter festivals, you'd have lock-ins almost. They used to be the hub of your sort of social life, and I feel Canterbury always had that. And it's a shame for the men and women not to be in the Prem because they're just a proper hockey club, and I would love to. I mean, I'd love to put on a shirt one more time and play for them purely because Clulo passes me the ball more than anything, but.
Mel Clulo will probably do up a few goals, wouldn't she, if she gets you back in a Canterbury shirt? But I completely agree. That's something that I was going to ask you in terms of would you see yourself going back there at a later date?
So because of my injuries, I don't play a lot of club, and it's something that I can't afford to really do because basically, to really bore you all, in case you don't like hearing about my injuries, I'm going to tell you anyway. My ankle injury and my knee stuff is basically every time you do a plyometric, you make it a bit worse. And running is a plyometric, which is a really simple way of putting it. But I also know that I need to play hockey to practice, and playing at club is something I really do believe in because you get that practice in, and you practice things that you wouldn't practice maybe international training, which I get you should at the same time. And so for me, I probably will. I mean, I will sign for Canterbury next season. Heard it here first, to be fair. And I will play a couple of games. Yeah, you got an exclusive. You can pay me later. So I will sign for Canterbury. But having said that, I don't know how many games I'll actually be able to play. But if I can play one or two, then I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. I think it's so nice. Like hearing someone that is so passionate about their home club. And I think you always get that with yourself and Canterbury. I completely agree. I think it's a fantastic club, and I hope to see them back in the Premier League where they belong in the near future. And with yourself on board, who knows what's going to happen? Okay, I've got time for one more, if that's all right.
Go on. Yeah.
From Will on Instagram, when you shared a room with Sophie Bray, who was better at Mario Kart and mini basketball? Sophie was better. But do you know why? Because I spent my life cleaning up her stuff, making her coffee, being nice to her, waking her up in the mornings. Like, she had no distractions in that room, nothing. Like, she didn't even have to put the playlist for pre-match. She had practiced that all day. She'd get better. She'd give me a small little controller. Like, if things count against you, there's quite a few things that count against me there, but I'm not pointing fingers. But yeah. Sophie Bray treated you how you treat Grace Balls.
Right.
Is that correct?
I think we're at past then.
Very interesting. Okay, so Will,
good point.
It's a no-brainer. Sophie Bray is the Mario Kart and mini basketball champion by the sounds of things.
She is pretty good at it. She does practice though.
I'll give her a shout out for that. Okay, well, as you said, 30 minutes is very nearly up. I could have spoken to you for years. This has been blooming brilliant. My cup of tea is very nearly empty. Okay, so I have one final thing to ask of you, if that's all right.
Go on.
Now, I'm going to give you the power to decide what my question is going to be my Cuppa and Natter guest on Thursday's episode, okay? I'm trusting you with this. Make it a good one.
Okay, so this actually kept me awake last night. I'm not even kidding. I was trying to think of a question that wouldn't be too inappropriate for Instagram. 2, something that would actually be a little bit informative, and 3, that will maybe make everyone laugh a little bit. And this came to me in the night. Again, another boring story from me, but I woke up in the night like a lot of people do, and I went to the toilet. And so my question to you guys is, when you go to the toilet in the evenings, so you've got probably a period from 10 in the evening to probably about 8 in the morning, and your household are asleep. So you've got a couple of decisions to make when this happens. So when you go to the toilet in the middle of the night, do you flush and risk waking the whole house up? Or do you leave it, don't wake the house up, but you risk someone finding it in the morning, or you have to go and flush it yourself in the middle of the night? I don't know. So what do? Do you go and flush it and wake the whole house up? Or do you leave it to the morning and risk someone else doing it? I actually don't think a lot of people know. I don't think a lot of people know their actual answers. I think a lot of people, you have to go, and people will think about it tonight. It's going to be there. Sometimes you flush, do you wake the house up? Sometimes you not.
Okay, I mean, Towner, I'm not going to lie. I was expecting something big. I mean, you've got that is just a question.
Food for thought, though, isn't it? Food for thought. My mum has just commented, no flushing. Thanks, Leslie. Yeah.
No, guys. If Leslie says no flushing, then that's the way, right? I mean, oh, Joe Curry, the legend that is, never flush. Interesting. See, you've kicked off the discussion already, but I guess you'll have to find out on Thursday. Tune in at 5 p.m. But my next guest will be revealed on Wednesday at 5 p.m. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But in the meantime, everyone, keep that kettle boiled. Keep nattering using #CupandNatter. And I'll see you same time, same place on Thursday. We know the first question. I'm intrigued what it's going to be about. But Susannah Townsend, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, girl.
Thanks, it's been great. Thanks for having me on. Thank you for peer pressure and actually getting me on. Oh, actually, can I do one more thing? Just a quick one. Just a quick one for Joe Hunter. Joe Hunter, I don't even know what number. I think she plays number 27, wants to play my number, which is number 9. Anyway, just to say that she uses Gray's equipment, and this counts as one of her social media posts. So thank you, Joe Hunter. All right.
Joe Hunter, Gray's appearance on Cuppa and Natter with Emily DeFronda and Susannah Townsend. You heard it here first. Cheers. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Towner. Take care.
Bye. Bye.